Well, welcome to the second week of the podcast here at the Sports Bar, here at Bacup Borough Football Club. I'm Steve Brown, and alongside me is the manager here at Bacup Borough, that is Brent Peters. I've had a lot of good feedback since the first podcast. It went down really well, did the first one?
Well, I'm pleased. I hope people enjoy it and find our views quite interesting.
Yeah, and
it is talking balls. You do know that.
It is talking balls. A lot of balls being spoken here on the podcast. We've got a few things to catch up on. We're going to catch up on a weekly basis with all the happenings here at Bacup Borough Football Club. We're also going to be chatting about assessors, and we're going to be chatting about football managers getting the chop, and the fact that some chairmen and directors are a little bit quick to drop the axe on the managers. So a few talking points. And also I had the pleasure of catching up with Craig Kendall. We did speak about Craig last week. Doing a great job with the North West Counties media pages this season, so I did manage to catch up with Craig to get his thoughts on the season so far. But first of all, Brent, just to pick up on the last 7 days here at Bacup Borough, a good win last weekend against Ashton Town.
Well, there's been a week of highs and a week of lows, I think you can safely say. You know, great result against and a great team performance against Ashton Town. And then 3 days later we have to go to Shelley. And I apologise to Shelley for not taking more note of results. But when I was talking to the powers that be at Shelley, the manager, he said what some quality results that they'd actually had. You know, they beat all the top teams, and they were, you know, on the form guide, they were probably the form team when we went there to meet them on Tuesday. Now, we didn't play bad. I mean, we gave a very, very good account to ourselves, more so in the second half than the first half, but the damage was done in the first half. And I did say to the lads after the game against Ashton, and I think I mentioned it last week on the podcast, that this will be a big test for them. It's not that we were playing Shelley. It would have been a big test against any team. The fact that a lot of these players, and I keep saying, and you're probably bored of me saying it, they haven't played at this level. And this is totally different from any amateur league level, basically, because what it is, it's intense. You play on a Saturday. You know, you go all out, you give it your best shot, you work hard, and you haven't got much recovery time before you're doing the same again on a Tuesday night. Yeah. But obviously, what happens with a midweek game? Everybody's got work and they've got commitments. There's a lot of the preparations go through the window in terms of everybody's chasing the tail to get in through traffic to get to the grounds, etc. So it was going to be a big test for them, and whether they could do it. And the bottom line is we were on the reverse of not a good result. Like I said, the first half, when the damage was done, second half we got into it. If Anthony Hall had stuck his penalty away at 2-0, that would have brought it to 2-1. That would have definitely would have changed the game. Yeah. Unfortunately, the keeper saved it. And the rest is history. But speaking to the lads, and when we made the substitutions, the lads are saying, "Oh, ready leg there," and this is what we're saying about preparations. It's important because look, we're non-league players at the end of the day, and what happens is, let's have it right. You know, they'll have played a game on a Saturday. They get home on a Saturday night, a quick shower.
Out on the town.
You know what it's like now these days. If you hit Manchester, the place is alive till 5-6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. So they get back in at 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning. They get in bed. By the time they come round, it's a Sunday lunchtime.
Yeah,
day's gone again. They aren't preparing or recovering from the Saturday game. The wife, the partner, the mother, her father are waking up. Oh, Lincoln, 4 o'clock game's on. Come on, get up out of that pit.
Yeah.
They get up out
Back
to the
out
pit.
pub.
And basically they're watching football, and then before they know where they are, they get up Monday morning for work, and they're thinking, blimey, I've had a Lincoln rough weekend. You know, we had a great win on Saturday.
Yeah. I'm
feeling heavy-legged, and they haven't prepared for the Tuesday game. Before they know where they are, the Tuesday game comes along, and one bam, thank you, man. It's you know, they're at it, and they can't raise themselves to that bar, and that's why they're feeling heavy-legged, and it's a learning curve, and that's where you get your inconsistencies coming in. But
I'm looking at the fixtures coming up over the next couple of weeks. It's a busy January for Bacup Borough. There's quite a few games, you know, like you say, Saturday midweek. Well,
this is what happens when you get games called off. You know, it's intense, and it will put a bit of a test on our squad, because when you're not playing, your squad's healthy. As soon as you start to play, you know, you're picking injuries up, you're picking more, you know, more games you play, the chances are you're going to pick yellow cards up, and then obviously the accumulation, the suspensions kick in, so it has a knock-on effect. So yeah, it's a busy time. Again, you know, we've got to utilise the squad, because like I've just mentioned there, you know, they've got to get used to the intensity of playing, you know, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Wednesday, or even Saturday, Monday. You know, they've got to get used. So it's important when you've played a game at this level, on heavy pitches as well, as they don't come any heavier at the minute than what Bacup's is. So it does take its toll a little bit, and it's not an excuse, that it's fact. And, you know, this is why lads have got to kind of recover and then prepare.
Just for our listeners, we've got a dog with us today. Are you babysitting? Have you become Barbara Woodhouse?
Listen, it's great, isn't it? My daughter...
John Noakes.
My daughter will be son-in-law right there, somewhere out in the Bahamas, I think, there. And, loving and with my grandson, who's now 9 months old. So it's his first main holiday out there.
I did see the picture. They've gone club class.
Yeah, they've gone club class. Yeah, we'll not mention that, have we? But the thing is, I'm dog sitting, and you know, I'm a soft touch, and I don't want to leave him at.
No.
I'll leave him at.
What's his name?
Max.
Max is an old dog, isn't he? He's knocking on a bit, is this lad? But he's happy enough. Happy enough.
Well, everybody's happy when they're with me.
Yeah, or in the sports bar here at Bacup Borough. Saturday. Disappointment, because of course we only played 45 minutes due to the weather conditions. What did you make of that, Brent, against Steventon?
Listen, I was worried on Friday. You know, there's nobody knows the pitch.
Touch and go, wasn't it?
Well, nobody knows the pitch much better than I do, and you know, I'd repaired it from the previous Saturday, but there were areas that was quite iffy, and that was the reason why I pulled in a referee on Friday. Well, I didn't pull him in on Friday, but I had him on standby, preparing for Saturday morning inspection, because it was all deemed on what was going to happen on Friday night come Saturday. If there was an heavy frost, pitch would have been absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
If there was any rain overnight, it would put it in serious doubt. If there was rain overnight with strong winds, there's a good chance. So it was all ifs, buts and maybes, but I was that worried and concerned about it, which is something that we never do. We're always prepared here at Bacup Borough Football Club, and we always go out on a Friday and get all the catering, and everything's prepped on a Friday evening, ready for the game on a Saturday. And after coming off that pitch on Friday, basically, I just said to Deborah, listen, we can't go and start getting all the catering in, because I'm a bit concerned about it. I pulled a referee in Saturday morning, and would you believe, which can happen with the pitch, because I've seen me think the pitch it's never going to happen on a Friday, and come Saturday it's been pitch perfect. Yeah.
We had a good breeze on the Friday night.
And I thought, you know, and he didn't hesitate. You know, when he came off the pitch, he went, as I've inspected it now, that pitch is good to go. I did tell him, and I did warn him about the forecast. I said,
Yeah.
you know what, 3 o'clock, there's heavy rain got to come in. And I mean, it did come in. You know, but he said, well, what can I do? I can only inspect. But the rules of the league are quite simply, if we hadn't have had that inspection, we would have been in big trouble because we would have been faced paying people's, you know, Steaton's expenses and all that. So we had to cover our backs on that front as well. And we'd had it inspected. I warned Roy the night before. But soon as that rain came, I turned around to Alex Chew, one of my substitutes on the day, and I just said, I'll tell you, this is about 15 minutes before half time. I went, we'll not come back out second half. He'll call this.
Yeah.
And off the sidelines, anybody watching, all the spectators, even Alex Chew turned around and said, give over, he doesn't look that bad. I went, listen, I know what it's like when you get out there.
Yeah.
It might look all right from the sides, but in certain areas when you get out there, it would have become dangerous. And to me, I ain't got a problem with the referee's decision because it was a lottery. I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from the goal that actually Steaton scored, but just typifies the conditions because straight away we're high up the pitch, we're in possession. Joel makes a wrong decision. A player, Anthony Hall's pulled wide for him. Instead of opening the pitch up, he's tried to thread a ball into one of his teammates in a crowded area sort of thing. Law of averages says it was never going to get to its destination. They cut it out and they just launched the ball forward. Our defence are pushing out. Well, straight away they've launched the ball. They couldn't turn, they couldn't stop, they couldn't do nothing. They're in. But even so, it was the goal that fair credit to the lad that's put it in the net. But
you expect Harry to say that all day, don't you?
Oh, I mean, even Harry says. I mean, I'm not going.
Let's draw a line through that.
Let's draw it all. I mean, it was. It was as weak as anything.
Because you don't get many of them off Harry anyway, do you?
No. He's a very
pretty steady.
He's a good goalkeeper, and but there's still 45 minutes to play, and I'm sure that. Well, I'm not sure because it was going to be a lottery. I mean, that's it. So that's another thing. When you look at the state of the pitch, anything could have happened either way. It could have been one of them games where it'd have ended up blinking 6 apiece. It was that mad.
Well, thank you very much for joining us here on the podcast, Sports Bar, the number 2, the second one in this series. We are going to be chatting, or I did have the pleasure of chatting to Craig Kendall early on in the week. So we're going to be catching up with Craig, seeing how he feels that the North West Counties is hotting up this season, both in the Premier and in the First Division North as well. But I want to talk now about, we'll stick with referees, because I want to talk about the assessing process, because it's something we've spoke about on several occasions, the assessing angles and all this kind of stuff that goes on in assessing, and the pros and cons of assessing.
Yeah, well, assessors.
Or should we know that assessors are even at the game? Because that
no,
can take
I have a bone of contention. Listen. A modern day young referee these days, everything's changed. And a young referee these days, not only they're not standalone anymore, they've got the coaches. They've got and I don't think that's a bad idea. I think that's an excellent idea because they're being mentored. So there's not a problem with that. I go along with that. I think that's quite good because he's not an assessor. He's watching, he's analysing the referee's performance, and he's there to correct him on how he should handle certain situations that may arise. So a coach, I quite get, because it's only like a young player having a coach in football. So I get that. But then is a process because, these lads have got to progress. And just like a young footballer that wants to have a dream of making it in a football league world, you've got to start somewhere and they progress. These young referees have a dream to be refereeing at Premiership at the Premier League level. They've got a dream just like a footballer has a dream. So they've got to start somewhere. And you know yourself, when you're starting off, like we've got a young side, when they're starting off at a good level of football, they're going to make wrong decisions. They're going to make mistakes. Honestly. And it's the same, basically, with a referee. You know, they're going to make, they're going to get certain things wrong, and they're going to deal with things that they shouldn't deal with. Now then, this is my bone of contention with the assessor. Should they be assessed? I think they should be assessed. Yeah, I think the people we need, you know, it's easy just for a club to mark, because if a referee's gone against you on the day or something like that, you know what it's like. You know, this marking system, I think, is dated anyway.
Human nature's you're going to mark him down.
Yeah, but I think I would never mark him down. Seriously, I would never. I am totally straight and honest. If I think they've had a bad, I will put a report in, and I will report it and mark them under the mark that you need to have to put a report in. Yeah. If I think they've done well, I will equally put in my comments of excellent performance, and I've done that. Did
that happen at Shelley in midweek?
No, let me explain. I'll come to the Shelley in a minute, right? But I will happily do that. It's not a problem. But in the main, you know, and it used to happen at Bacup Borough Football Club, the secretaries are the people that are marking referees, right? The secretaries. They're the ones, but let's be honest, half the time the secretaries, and I'm not being disrespectful to any secretary out there, but they're that busy doing other jobs. They're not really concentrating fully focused on a game of football. The managers are, because they have to do, because it's their job. They're watching the game. The coaches are, because they're watching the game. So the secretary is doing other things while the game's going on, in some instances. Not in every instance, but in some instances. So how can a secretary of a football club what's not watched 90 minutes football, fully focused, give an accurate mark on a referee?
Well, they can't.
Well, exactly, and they don't do. And the other thing, and I've known it because I've even spoke to secretaries that have said it, well, we had a bad referee the other day. I said, did you report him? Did you put no, I just give him the mark that enough that I don't have to put anything in writing.
Well, the league's not going to...
Well, it's wrong that, because at the end of the day, that person is not helping the referee to start with, because the referees association can't help that
it's
referee.
It's not helping the league, because they want a true reflection.
So there's a little bit of a bone of contention with me on the club marks, on that side of things, but I do think they should be assessed. However, where I completely disagree with the Football Association's handling of assessors, for one, I don't think the assessor should make it known that he's arriving at that game on that particular day and the referee's being assessed. I think it's bonkers.
Yeah, I do.
A referee, an assessor going into a referee's room before a game and saying,
I'm here to watch you.
My name's Brian and I'm here to assess you today. I hope you have a good game. I'll come and see you again at half time and I'll see you again at full time. Bonkers. Because straight away that puts the referee under enormous pressure. And I've seen it so many times, and it's happened to me, where a referee that we've had in the past has come over to me even before a ball's been kicked and said to me, exact words have been, listen, we try and keep everything tidy today, will you do this, will you do that, I am being assessed and I have got to lay down the letter of the law, so I cannot manage it.
I saw it was under pressure.
Going back to the Shelley game, let me tell you, that referee...
He was scared out of his wits.
He pulled me before the game, when they were warming up, he pulled me.
Put his hand on your shoulder, you have a good word with you.
He said to me, he told me straight, he said, for some reason, my marks are down on assessors, they don't like me. That was his words before the game to me.
So he's scared.
He says, and do you know what? You saw the same game as me. He was absolutely... It's the worst refereeing performance I have seen for a long time for both sides. It was ridiculous. And some of the things he was doing, like, for instance, a lad right in front of me, blatantly running back, kicks out, scissor kick one of our players off the ball. It was blatant for everybody. He's down and rolling about, injured. He's seen it. we've dealt with. He's come on, but he hasn't booked. But he realises he should have booked the player. 10 minutes later, when the player did something which didn't even warrant a booking, he's booked him. And then he's turned round at half time and said, I booked him for that because I missed that. What? That's what he said.
Back to Sunday League.
Oh, and I'm thinking, it's bonkers. And you know what? If he handed...
But it's unnecessary pressure on referees.
Exactly. And that guy was under pressure before he kicked the ball.
He was.
And his exact words to me were that, he said, I'm being assessed.
Behave yourself.
For the assessors don't like me for some reason. My marks on assessors are down. So my bottom line is, and I've always said it, in my opinion, an assessor, yes, should a referee be assessed? I think he should. I think what should happen is, Steve Brown's been appointed to assess a guy, Bacup Borough versus Shelley. He arrives at the ground. The referee doesn't know he's being assessed till after the game. He's sat in the stand. He's stood on the terraces. He's wherever he wants to go. The first time the referee knows he's been assessed in that game is after the game, when he makes his way to the changing room and he says, my name's Steve Brown, I've been here for 90 minutes, I'd like to talk to you about the way the game's gone and my observations on that game. Because what happens then is that referee, as free as a bird, has refereed it in a relaxed, he's not tight.
No.
Because let's backtrack and let's take it away from football. When you're with a driving instructor, when you're learning to drive a car, or you're on your driving test, you're as nervous as hell because that guy's outside of you. And you're
watching every single move.
And you're doing everything. You're like twisting your neck. You know, I remember when I took my...
10 to 2 hands?
Yeah, I remember when I was taking my Class 1 licence and the guy...
To make sure he's seen you...
He says, whatever you do, seriously, he said, whatever you do, and I'm in a wagon, bear in mind, and he says, whatever you do, let him know you're checking your mirrors, move that. Don't just have a quick glance, move your head. Literally, I'm not being funny.
You must have looked like a rat too.
I'm looking like this. I had to do. And then he said to me, another one that he said to me, he said, if he tells you to pull up down the left-hand side of here, he said, make sure you do an arm signal, right? So you're slowing down. So this is what I'm being told before I go out by my instructor.
Yeah.
So I'm in a wagon. It's a flatbed wagon. So I'm doing my test. Right, Mr. Peters, could you just pull up on the left-hand side down here where you think? So I'm looking, mirror signal manoeuvre. So I'm looking with me. And then I start pouring my hair out, like, because I've been told to do. So I'm flagging
like a bird?
I'm like, no. The guy's turning round, seriously, truthfully, I'm not lying. He's turning round, looking through the thing, and he said, Mr. Peters, who are you waving at? That's what he said. I said,
I'm doing the royal wave.
My instructor told me, whatever happens, I have got, because you pulled me if I didn't do my...
he must have been taking Mickey out of you.
No, seriously, and he says, right, Mr. Peters, just carry on. Anyway, I passed anyway. The moral line is when I got back, I passed.
But I bet you got hold of the instructor after and give me a ride.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but you're a tensed up, you're doing it, and you're over-exaggerating things because you want to show that you can do it.
You're trying to impress.
Correct. Yeah. So you're not driving relaxed. Turn that onto football, you're not officiating relaxed. And you know what? It's no surprise that these referees that progress and go up and then they're on the peripheral of the Football League or in the football. Higher you go, I always say this down at the Northwest Counties, at step 5, step 6, probably step 4, the referees were shortchanged, all those clubs are shortchanged, because when they're starting out, we're getting them when they're learning the trade.
Yeah, guinea pigs.
So decision making, we get the wrath of it. We get the higher you go, you get the more experience that's been through all that. So you get better refereeing standards.
Yeah, certainly. Anyway, we're going to take a short break, but then when we come back, I'm going to be chatting to Craig Kendall, doing a fantastic job with the North West Counties social media pages. We did speak about it last week, but doing a great job. And I had the pleasure of chatting to him. See you soon. welcome back. Yes, you are tuned in to the Sports Bar podcast here at Bacup Borough Football Club. I did have the pleasure of catching up with Craig Kendall, North West County's media, one of the media team, along with Martin Fallon and Gary Langley, doing a great job this season on their social media pages. And I had the pleasure of catching up with Craig, and this is what he had to say about the league so far.
Well, first of all, Craig, thank you for joining us on the Sports Bar show this evening. First season at North West County's level. You must be delighted.
It is indeed, and loving it, loving life. Yeah, without a doubt, it's certainly going from strength to strength. The stats back everything up, and it's we're ever growing. And the clubs are getting more and more interactive with us as well, which massively helps with all the impressions and everything that Twitter and Facebook and the website does.
Well, how did the move to the North West Counties come about, Craig? Because I found out last week that you actually live in Grimsby of all places.
That is true, yeah. Just miles away from everywhere. I mean, my closest ground is Emley, which is about an hour and 40 away from me, and you look at somewhere like Cleaton or Celtic or Holker All Boys, and it's nearly a 4-hour trip for me. So it's probably a ground I probably won't visit, to be fair, but it's just too far away. But yeah, I started off at Step 5, Step 6 in the North East Counties doing Cleethorpes Town media stuff for a few years, and then I branched out on my own website and magazine covering the North East Counties and bits and bobs of other non-league, and it sort of snowballed from there. And then this opportunity came up in May or June last year, and I spoke to Gary Langley and Paul Lawler, the chairman of the North West Counties, and yeah, it was a fantastic opportunity for me to further my career, and I thought it's a great chance, and be daft not to go for it.
Yeah, well, you did some work with our very own Brent Peters several weeks ago, and that report, it seemed to go global.
Yes, certainly. Yeah, I'm a really massive geek as such, and I did the list of all the North West Counties managers and how long they've been with each club, and I thought, I'll start compiling how many games people have managed, and from all the records that I could gather and get together, it was slowly coming along that Brent was nearly 1,000 games, and I worked out when it would be, and obviously I put it out on social media, and went a bit viral. I mean, BBC Sports took it, and it was all good.
Well, it certainly is, and looking at all the three divisions in the North West Counties, it seems to be hotting up at the moment, and going towards February, it's getting tight both at the top and at the bottom.
Yeah, without a doubt, yeah. Bootle, slow starters, to be fair. They've come up in the past few weeks, and 74 Northwich have probably always been there this season. Charnock's unfortunately probably in a false position because of the amount of games they've played. However, they've got points on the board, which is all that matters at the end of the season. Obviously, Longridge have had a fantastic run in the bars, and got drawn against Hebborn today, who obviously beat Vauxhall Motors at the weekend. They've got up to 7 games in hand, and it's a long season when you're doing so well in the bars, which hopefully won't impact them either way, because obviously it's the stress on the players and everything, and they'll have to play midweek games every week at this rate. But hey, if you're going to be usually if you're successful in the bars, you're very successful in the league. That normally ties in quite well.
Yeah, it definitely does, and I can remember Steve Wilkes' side, North West Vics, last season having a fantastic run, getting to the semi-finals, and I think they were beaten by the eventual winners, Chertsey, in the end.
It was Chertsey, yeah. I was at the final. It was a great occasion. I was lucky enough to do photographs on the day, and I was right in the mix of the Chertsey fans, so it was a great opportunity. I got a photograph of the FA Vars and one of the winners as well, so it was a bit bizarre that the photographer wanted a photo, but hey.
Well, moving on to the First Division North, it seems to be hotting up at the top there, the likes of, AFC Liverpool and Lower Breck and Emley all in the mix at the top, and it's going to get exciting.
It certainly is. I mean, Lower Breck probably you'd say are going to go up, but after that, it's very, very close. I looked the other day, and like I said, I look at stats, and it's the tightest league in the country, and just shows how beatable or winnable every game is for everyone. Obviously Steeton and yourself played each other on Saturday, got called off, but at that point, obviously being called off, Steeton were, I think, moved up about 4 places because obviously they were winning 1-0. It was unreal. How much the league can change, or realistically, any team could put in a run of 6 or 7 games and they'll be in contention.
And looking at the bottom of First Division North, very tight with the likes of State and ourselves and 7 or 8 other sides in there, but a couple of wins, and you could find yourself in a top 10 place. It's that close this season. Yeah,
it's unreal, and obviously it's around about the top 6. Will probably get an FA Cup place as well if you've played in the Bars this season. So it's a massive, massive chance. But unfortunately, it goes on points per game. So obviously, the points per game in the Division 1 North isn't great because everyone's beating each other. So it's probably going to be the top 4, but then again, they're all going to get promoted. So it's one of them where when it goes on points per game, it's just a bit unfair because it's, like I say, so competitive. It's sort of punishing yourselves, isn't it?
And looking at First Division South, it's not a league I know too much about, but looking at that league, Vauxhall Motors are looking pretty much the favourites to get promotion this season, but very tight league as well this season.
Yeah, it's tight from probably you could say even 3rd downwards. It's one of them where Vauxhall, obviously, they've done, like I say, done really well in the Vars, doing really well in the league. It ties in again. They've got 3 games in hand, and if they win a couple, you can't say it's all over, but I think they'll easily get promoted. SCS Westry, they've had a change in manager, so I thought that might put a little bit of a dampener on things. Obviously, new guy going in, but they seem to have kicked on, to be fair, and doing all right. It's tight again. You're probably looking anywhere from probably, to me, you could even probably look down towards the lower part of the table and think, maybe want a run, but probably 13th above Sam Batch. Yeah. Probably from there, anyone like that, but someone like Stockport have done brilliantly since Adam Jones has come in. He's done a really good run. So I think it's exciting. You've got Wythenshawe Town, they've got up to 5 games in hand. West Didsbury have got 3. One of them, or both of them, could really push on.
Well, he's certainly looking good in all 3 divisions, but with you working on the social media this season, coming on board with the likes of Martin and Gary, do you look at the stats to see what the improvements, or if the improvements are taking place in regards to numbers?
Yeah, I do. I look at the numbers all the time. We're growing on social media, so especially like Twitter, we're about 300% up on last season. Facebook, it's a bit harder to gather the stats, but we're massively up. Instagram, we started in August. We've got about 1,200 followers or likes. Or I don't really understand Instagram that well, but whatever it is on there, these kids nowadays, they use everything. Yeah, the website, we're about 30% up. Obviously, the live scores has been massive. We're nearly, I think we're about 150,000 people have visited the live scores itself since August.
Well, Craig, thank you very much indeed for joining us this evening on the Sports Bar Show. All the best for the rest of the season, and we'll try and meet up at some time, but you're doing a fantastic job along with Martin and Gary. Thank you very much.
Much appreciated.
Well, we are back. You are listening to the podcast here at the Sports Bar here at Bacup Borough Football Club. Alongside the manager, Brent Peters. Great to catch up with Craig and get his thoughts on the league so far. Don't forget, if you want to get involved, if you want to advertise or promote your business here on the Sports Bar podcast on a weekly basis, then you can drop us a line. It's media.bacupboroughfc@gmail.com, or alternatively you can go along to our webpage, which is bacupboroughfc.com, and then just go to the contacts page, leave a brief description and a contact number, and then we'll get back in touch with you, and before you know it, you could be advertising on the Sports Bar podcast. I want to chat now, Brent, about managers. We were chatting about it yesterday afternoon for about an hour on the phone, about how quick sometimes or eager directors and chairmen are to kind of met the manager's surplus to requirements. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think sacking a manager, you want stability. I think you've got to, and I'm not just talking non-league, I'm talking right across the board and everything. It's not amateur football, it's a business. Football is a business, especially, in the level that we're in the National League system, so it's got to be a business because it's a costly exercise to maintain your facilities, to progress your facilities. Obviously, the higher you go, you bring in a better calibre of player in, so it becomes, if they're a contract player, they become employed by the club. If they're a non-contract player, you still got expenses to meet, so you've got to find out all those finances, and you're in enclosed stadiums and you've got lots and lots of criteria and boxes to tick. So football is a business, whether you agree or you don't agree, that is basically how it is. Now, I look at it this way, the whole concept for me is wrong, because if me and you went into business and we were in business, right, depending on what we do. So let's say we're a confectioner and manufacturer, right?
I know where you're going with this, because yesterday
well,
you were about Victory V.
Well, exactly, Victory V. So let's not water this down.
The factory closed about 40 years ago, by the way.
Let's not water this down. You've got Victory V's, right? And I know they could never get this part right at the Victory V factory.
What's that?
Let me tell you.
At Nelson.
Right, at Nelson, the Victory V factory at Nelson, they used to produce jelly babies. So they wanted a production team that had to sort the sexes out of the jelly babies. You had to sort the males from the females.
And the different colours.
And the different colours. And they could never sort that out. So they never got that right. But, no, joking apart, seriously. So we've got a team with confectioners, right? So what do you want? So in the business, we want a production manager. A production manager then has to bring in his staff that work under him to produce the confectioneries. You've then got sales managers. So the sales manager has to come in, he builds a team around him, which has got to obviously get out there and sell the ware. If you bring that into a football environment, as a director of a football club, a chairman, an owner of a football club, you go out there, and for me, for sustainability, you need to be trying to attract what you think is the right person that fits your club's criteria, and really he should become, whether it be a director, non-executive director of the operation. So he is a big part of the structure.
Yeah.
He's not there to be here today, gone tomorrow. He's not part of the set race. He's there his job title is that he's in charge of, let's say, for one of the better words, all football affairs. He's in charge of all the football affairs. That's it. That's his remit.
Yeah.
So he doesn't get sacked. So straight away, what should happen then is, like we would do if we're in the confectionery business, you build teams that would have put the jigsaws into place. So he would then go out, and whilst he's working with the first team coaches, right, he would appoint an head coach that would be working with the players. So he goes out, and so we've now got a person that's now come onto the board, and he's a big part of the club. So what would happen is he would then appoint the right person that he feels would fit into the remit of the club to coach, be with the players on a daily basis, to coach them and develop them. And then obviously, as we would do in the confectionery business, we would bring in other people. So it's our appointments, not the club appointments. Another dog here.
Two dogs.
another
Crufts
dog
here
here.
today.
We're not going to start fighting now.
It's Max, isn't it?
It's Max. We've got Max here and we've got Dexter here. We've got Max here and we've got Dexter here now.
I'm going for a walk.
We're recording that. Are we going to stop
It's all
this?
right.
now?
We're not going to stop nothing.
Are you recording?
We are.
Oh, sorry. I don't know.
We're on air.
You didn't have your microphone.
This is a sports bar, so people are coming and going all the time. Go on. We're in the confectionery business, Mr. Peters.
Yeah, so I got
You got sidetracked a little bit.
So the simple fact is, right, we're in the confection, so we are putting people in places, right, like you would advertise. So it's a club, it's our business appointment. I feel that in the managing situation, it's a club appointment on every aspect. So if you want, let's say, a nutritionist in, you get the best nutritionist, club appointment. If you want a physio in, the best physio within our budget, club appointment.
I think with the managers, though, Brent,
So-
it's down to... It's based on team selection, isn't it?
Well, forget that. Let's just cut away from the chase. If we've got a problem, so the club's appointing now, on the main person that's appointing for the club is the director.
Yeah. Or the director of football,
or football operations. So he's not getting sacked. If it's not working,
Unless he's making some bad appointments, of course.
well, no, I don't know because I disagree, because this is where it all goes wrong. The sack race, because everybody, as soon as there's a run of bad results, all those supporters out there. Let's take Burnley for instance. I'm not getting to my point here by cutting in where I'm trying to come from.
Okay.
So what happens is you've now got a model which is like a business model. So what happens is if you're not happy with results of the court, you've got to get the coach in. We speak just like we would do if we got our sales team in, because they're not hitting the targets in our confectionery business.
Yeah.
We need to improve this. We've got to get the results. We need more sales. So how do we do? Do we just go and sack somebody and get somebody else in? Or do you work at it to improve your sales? Somehow you've got to work at it. You work at it. So there could be a lot of reasons why results go pear-shaped in football clubs. It's not necessarily that they've got bad players. It could be a lot of reasons. It could be that they've got injuries to key players and they haven't managed to bring replacements in for one reason or another. Now, this could lead me to something else with agents and everything else, and it goes snowballs. So it's not necessarily that you've got, I mean, let's take AFC Fylde, a prime example. AFC Fylde, last year, well, for many years now, they've always punched above their weight. They've got promotion after promotion after promotion. I remember Challenger was in charge when we played them in the Lancashire Challenge Trophy final.
That was
He
only
in
like
charge.
2012,
Exactly,
2013.
and they've done really well since then. And last season they got to the player final, and they also got to the trophy final, and I think they won the trophy. So basically, the situation that you've got, all of a sudden this season, for whatever reason, things have gone pear-shaped, and unless there's an agenda where there's been a fallout between chairman and manager, right? All of a sudden the guy's got sacked, and they've brought in Jim Bentley. Now, I'm not against any of them personally, but I'm just saying, is he a bad manager, or all of a sudden does he become a bad manager in all them years? No, does he yet? But the circumstances why AFC Fylde have kind of underachieved at the start of this season. And like I said, there's lots of reasons why people underachieve. You've got suspensions, you've got injuries to key players, you can't get turn players in, get players quick enough, etc., etc. So the fans get restless. Oh, the football we're playing is rubbish. Get the manager out. They think, but it can't be like that, because
and the chairman and the directors get a bit
they
nervous.
get nervous because they think, what's going to end up happening here is we're going to end up losing spectators. So that's our budget.
Yeah.
We're not even going to hit our cut-off line where we break even figure. So they get a bit panicky. I feel that it's a bad model. It's bad when managers keep getting sacked, and from a manager's point of view, and it's happened, and it's a fact. They love it because I'm not being funny. They go, they get a 3-year contract. They're sacked after 18 months. They get a payday, and then they go to another club because somebody else takes them. They get sacked again. They get another payday. And before you know where they are, they become very wealthy people by just getting paid off for being failures. It's madness. I don't follow it. So I think there's got to be sustainability. Now you've got to have a person, I believe, within your model, like we said about the confectionery business, that is employed by you, that wants to be a big part of it and understand. Now, if things go wrong, we've all, as a team, got to work at it to put it right. If for some reason we have to relieve somebody of the duties, then if the coach has to go because you feel that, you know, his methods are dated or whatever, then the coach might have to go. You bring another coach in. But that doesn't disrupt all your club. Because when we see it now, what happens is a manager gets sacked from a football club, and when a manager gets sacked from the football club, usually half his backroom staff are going with him as well. Yeah. And the players that are already in the club, that are on contract and can't go anywhere, were brought in by the previous manager. And what happens then is they don't really want to play for the new manager. So then, you know, you've got a situation where, you know, we don't.
Well, the club
like
is totally turned
so
upside down.
It's upside down. It's a problem, and I don't think I think we've got to change away from that. We've got to change. We've got the ethos. It starts with the people who own the club at the top. And I think the template's got to change, because I think first of all, they've got to bring the right person in, like you would do in our confectionery business, where, look, he's the managing director, he's the man that will run our business affairs how we want it running, right? So he then goes and headhunts the people from various capacities to come in and head those departments. So if somebody were to go and get moved, like in any industry, what happens is they get moved, but it doesn't disrupt the whole apple cart, because what happens is, like you would do if our sales director or sales manager decides that he can earn an extra 30 grand a year somewhere else and he moves on his own accord, it wouldn't disrupt the company. We'd have to go and find somebody equally as good, if not better. Yeah. And that's what you do, and you keep it. All this sacking, to me, is just bonkers, and it doesn't help anybody. But that comes from pressure, I think and believe, from spectators that are just thinking that it's a norm and we sack the manager. I mean, we see it at Burnley all the time now. I don't get it. I just don't get it, because you've got a guy at Burnley who's Burnley's Clareton Blue, although he's not from Burnley. He's Clareton Blue veins.
He's doing a fantastic job.
He's done absolutely fantastic, Sean Dyche. And I remember when everything were in rosy and going well, everybody's in.
There's only a small proportion of fans,
but then
noise.
It's like anything else. A small proportion of fans, if they shout loud enough, become a greater voice than the majority of people, and that's the problem and the poison. Yeah. And to me, Sean Dyche has done a remarkable job, and everybody was saying when it were on an high and Burnley were on the open, doing well in the Championship and then in the Premiership, in Dyche we trust. All of a sudden, because things have gone a bit off track, whoa, Dyche, he's a dinosaur, he needs to change this. There could be reasons behind it, and what people have got to understand is when you name your squad at the start of the season, when the transfer window's shut, you've got to put up with that squad until the next window. So basically, what happens is, if you've got injuries to key personnel, where do you go? You're stuck
with reserve players.
He's stuck with them. unless he brings somebody in on loan or some. He could do that, but but that's not easy. Everything in life doesn't come easy, and certainly now where agents are concerned, you know, it's not that easy. Even like they keep saying, well, he's not going to bring anybody in this window. This is a daft window. It's not.
No.
It's not a lucrative window. This. I mean, we keep hearing about all these situations where, you know, all these situations whereby Manchester United are linked with certain players like Grealish and people like that. Whether it's true or it's not true, but if it is true, they're not going to get Grealish in this window.
No.
He's not going to leave Aston Villa.
Well, Villa need him for the survival.
Correct. Might get him in the summer.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what they've got to realise. And listen, I just think the models, you know, and when you look at it as well, like I said, are they bad managers? You look at what's happening at Watford. You've got a manager there, Nigel Pearson, who's done well, but he's been sacked along the way.
Leicester.
He's been sacked before Leicester. You know, he were he not number 2 to Brian Robson at Middlesbrough, and I think he's been at other clubs. Now, I've been lucky to have been in his company. I've not obviously been in the changing room with him, but I've been in his company, and I get a lot of
management skills.
I get a lot of what he's about, but he's a very, very good manager. So let's be honest. If my model was put into place, he would have still been at one club, and he's proved that he can. And he's proved that even though he's been sacked, he is a good manager, and he's now gone to Watford and turned Watford round.
Improving it.
Finally, while I'm on this, I think that the big problem that you've got in a lot of ways in this country, you've got a lot of foreign owners now taking over football clubs, which basically what happens is you've got foreign owners taking over football clubs that incidentally bring in foreign coaches, and then they're looking, instead of looking at the British players, they're more looking at the foreign players. So whilst we can't, if somebody comes and makes you a brilliant offer, you can't dictate whether you're not going to refuse that. But I don't think that always. I think there should be more and more British managers in the British game. Anyway,
we're going to leave it there because we've come to the end of another Sports Bar show. Number 2, we'll be back next week with number 3, and we're going to be. I'm not sure what we're going to be talking about next week, but there may be a panda in it interviewing Brent. So I'll let you into a bit of a secret there.
We're going to Knowsley Safari Park.
I don't know. I've been told you've got a panda suit somewhere.
Well, we've a few things here. Never mind a panda.
But it's been an absolute pleasure. Don't forget, if you want to get in touch, if you want to sponsor, if you want to advertise, you want to promote, then you can get in touch with us. That's media.bacupboroughfc@gmail.com, or you can go along to our webpage as well, which is bacup-borough-fc.com. Put all your details in the contacts page, and we'll get back in touch with you. Cheers, Brent.
Happy days. Have a nice week.
And don't forget, it's all about the Victory V.
Jelly babies. Sort the sexes out. Male or female. Nobody could do it.